Annabelle. The real Annabelle isn't the porcelain doll from the movie. She's a Raggedy Ann, a soft and harmless looking. But that innocence is exactly what makes her so disturbing. In the early 1970s, two nursing students brought Annabelle home. At first, everything seemed normal, until they'd come back from class and find the doll sitting in a completely different spot from where they left her. At first, they blamed each other for trolling, until they remembered they're nursing students. Nobody has time for that. The only thing they're rearranging is their sleep schedule. Things kept getting stranger. Handwritten notes started appearing on paper they didn't own. If your doll starts leaving notes using stationery you never bought, she's not just haunted, she's straight up shopping on your budget. Then one night, a friend stayed over and claimed he woke up unable to breathe, with the feeling that Annabelle was on him. Whether it was sleep paralysis or something else, that was the moment everyone collectively decided, yep, this is above our pay grade. So they called Ed and Lorraine Warren. After investigating, the Warrens concluded the doll wasn't haunted by a child spirit. It was a demonic entity using the doll as a vessel. Basically, the demon picked Annabelle like she was a profile picture. The Warrens took Annabelle to their occult museum and sealed her in a locked glass case with a sign that literally says, "Positively do not open." But of course, there's always that one visitor who thinks they're the main character. The guy mocked the doll and tapped on the glass. Later that day, he died in a motorcycle accident. Yeah, some lessons you just don't get to retake. Annabelle stays locked up to this day. Staff say she still shifts a little from time to time, but as long as nobody opens the case, she's basically on airplane mode. Robert the Doll. Robert the Doll looks harmless at first. Just an old school boy doll in a sailor suit. But don't let the outfit fool you. He's one of the most documented cursed objects on Earth. The story begins in the early 1900s with a boy named Robert Eugene Otto. Everyone called him Gene so he wouldn't get confused with the doll later. Gene received the doll as a gift and decided to name it Robert. Yeah, nothing could possibly go wrong with giving a creepy doll your exact name. Then, Gene became unusually attached to Robert. He'd talk to the doll for hours. But the creepy part? Family members said they heard a second voice answering back, and it definitely wasn't Gene's. That was the moment the family realized this wasn't the average childhood imaginary friend arc. Soon, objects around the house started breaking or moving. Neighbors even claimed they saw Robert move from window to window when no one was home. Not a tiny shift, this guy was doing rounds like he was filming a TikTok tour of the house. And when Gene grew up, the activity didn't stop. Visitors reported footsteps, giggling, and swore the doll's facial expressions changed depending on who walked into the room. Eventually, Robert was placed in the Fort East Martello Museum. At first, staff treated him like a normal exhibit, and quickly learned that was a terrible idea. Electronics would malfunction around him, cameras would glitch, and the most important rule became clear: never take a photo without asking Robert first. Yes, people actually ask a doll for permission, and when they forget, they end up emailing the museum, apologizing, and begging Robert to lift whatever curse suddenly hit them. Car troubles, breakups, broken bones, you name it. The museum gets hundreds of these messages every year. Today, Robert sits behind glass, but visitors still swear he moves, changes expressions, or reacts differently depending on who's in the room. The Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond is basically the Kardashian of gemstones. Insanely famous, extremely pretty, and surrounded by so much drama. This chunky 45-carat blue diamond has been linked to bad luck for centuries. According to legend, someone snatched it from the eye of a Hindu temple idol. Ever since then, the diamond's owners have had storylines straight out of a Netflix true crime documentary. The French royal court was the diamond's first major stage. King Louis XIV brought the gem into the palace, only to later die of gangrene. It then passed to Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, who met an even harsher fate when the revolution erupted and both were dragged to the guillotine. The diamond continued its streak with Evelyn Walsh McLean in 1911, a millionaire socialite who carried the Hope Diamond like a crown jewel. But her life collapsed piece by piece. A son killed in a car crash, a daughter lost to an overdose, and a husband who spiraled into insanity and institutionalization. Turns out money couldn't buy her an exception. Today, the Hope Diamond rests behind bulletproof glass at the Smithsonian. No strange events have followed it since. Some say the curse finally stopped. Others say it's just napping. The Crying Boy. The Crying Boy painting was created by Italian artist Bruno Amadio in the 1950s. It shows a sad young boy with big, watery eyes, staring at you like he knows your Wi-Fi password and all your secrets. But the real problem wasn't the artwork itself, it was what kept happening around it. By the 1980s, the Crying Boy had become a mass-produced print and was everywhere across the UK. Millions of homes owned one, especially working-class families. Around the same time, reports of house fires began making headlines. People started connecting the dots. Many of the burned homes seemed to have have one thing in common: a crying boy painting hanging on the wall. Newspapers ran stories claiming hundreds of houses had burned, yet the paintings were often found completely intact, framed, untouched, and hanging there like nothing had happened. As fear spread, people searched for an explanation. That's when rumors about the artist himself began to surface. According to legend, Bruno Amadio had painted the image of an orphan whose life was filled with tragedy. Some versions of the story claimed the boy was cursed, and that the curse somehow attached itself to the painting. In reality, there is no historical evidence that the boy was an orphan or cursed. Investigators later pointed to a more practical explanation. The prints were often coated with fire-resistant varnish, while the walls around them were not. So when houses burned, the painting sometimes survived simply because it was harder to ignite. Whether the painting was cursed or not, it left behind one of the most unsettling legends in modern folklore. The Hands Resist Him. The Hands Resist Him was created in 1972 by American artist Bill Stoneham. At first glance, it already feels wrong. The painting shows a young boy, modeled after Stoneham himself as a child, standing beside a lifeless-looking doll in front of a glass door. Behind that door, dozens of pale, ghostly hands press forward. For decades, the painting was relatively unknown. Then, in the early 2000s, everything changed. The artwork suddenly went viral after being listed on eBay by a couple who claimed something was very wrong with it. According to their listing, the figures in the painting moved at night, fought with each other, and appeared to step out of the frame. They even included a warning: viewing the image could cause anxiety, illness, or overwhelming fear. The story exploded online. Thousands of people claimed they felt sick, uneasy, or watched after looking at the image. Some reported nightmares. Others said the doll's eyes followed them across the room. Digging deeper only fueled the curse. The painting's first owner, actor John Marley, died shortly after purchasing it. The gallery owner who handled it also died within a few years. Coincidence? Probably. But cursed object fans didn't think so. Eventually, the painting was purchased by the Perception Gallery in Michigan, where it remains today, safely stored, occasionally displayed, and very much not moving, as far as they'll admit. Whether the Hands Resist Him is truly cursed or not, one thing's certain: nobody looks at this painting and feels relaxed.